this kind of scenario doesn't pop up again, wherein the CBN comes up with a policy, Nigerians don't seem to be happy with it. The National Assembly is not briefed, and then it just drops on them as it does every other Nigerian by surprise. In the light of all of this, is the House of Representatives going to amend the CBN Act?
No, obviously, Chamberlain. I've said it. I said 14 weeks, that's 4 weeks. Within the 4 weeks, the committee will look at these issues holistically, because these surprise packages over time might not be, on the long run, be palatable for the Nigerian people as time goes by. Maybe the laws are faulty, because each time you take on them, they will tell you, you have given by law this independence. You cannot take it with the left hand. So let's look at that law. The law itself is a creation of is an act of the parliament. And laws everywhere are updated to catch up with the realities of time. So if the CBN Act definitely will be amended, the intentions of the amendment is not to hamstrung the CBN, is to just make that institution stronger than the individuals that occupy them. And that's exactly what we're saying. So that people are not coming up with policies whose history will just be tagged to their names rather than the institution. And that's exactly how we have to look at it. Without sounding very pessimistic, I believe as a Nigerian, these are not the issues that we should face yet. Let's look at how to curb inflation. 5,000 naira, no, will it curb inflation? We want to be schooled on this matter. We want to be convinced. If we are convinced that it will bring down inflation, of course, why not? Let it be. But as it is just more technical than very practical. The proponents of it might see it as an illiterate speaking, but of course, there's a reality as well as concerned.
Well, anyway, as you put back at that, I was going to ask you if the House has finally extended an invitation to Sanusi to come explain the rationale behind this introduction or proposed introduction of 5,000 naira note.
Yeah, we have left this to the committee, and of course, in the next 2 weeks, 4 weeks, the committee will report back. I'm sure that the committee will have extended the invitation to him. The two committees of that's the Senate and of course the House of Representative committees on banking and currency. I'm sure these issues will definitely be the front burners. And don't forget that aside from the 5,000 naira note, it appears as if when we resumed, we were just targeting 5,000 naira. No, we looked at the issue of the budget as well. We looked at the issues of meeting up what do you call it, the needs of the people. That's the capital budget. We looked at the issue of SEC as well. The SEC DG, we have said that in 14 days' time, well, as far as we're concerned as a house, we don't recognize her. She's not qualified to be a member or to be the Director General of SEC. The issues are very clear. So these are issues that we say, okay, these are resolutions of the house. And of course, no individual is greater than the institution called the legislature. So our resolutions definitely must be respected, because we must operate, we have been operating a symbiotic relationship as far as democracy is concerned. The judiciary, the executive, nobody can do the job of the other. And we will have to give each other span and space to operate. And that is what makes democracy work.
You know, we'd like to come back to that issue, but I hate to overflog this 5,000 naira note. You have looked for all the disadvantages. Does the House of Representatives see one advantage with it?
Maybe the only advantage is to, for me, as a layman, I would look at it that the only advantage is for people to be able to smuggle out money so easily. I'm sure. Of course, part of the explanation.
Move money around easily.
No. Let me land. One of the explanations I listened to, either Kingsley Moghalu, the Deputy Governor of Central Bank, is that some of these monies are being carried in dollar denomination. That if higher denominations of the naira are introduced, then people can resort to the naira rather than moving to the dollar. So what I can read, the inference is that it will give opportunities for people to launder in the naira denomination. That's the way I'm looking at it.
That is how you're interpreting it. What about ease of movement for businessmen who need to do genuine business, that need to carry cash? Because they have said that whether or not they operate a cashless policy, people will still carry cash.
Cashless economy. They say we should move on cashless economy.
The highest nomination we have presently is 1,000 naira, which is not realistic in terms of, comparing it with other currencies of the world.
You see, I like your question. It's very interesting and very self-explanatory. Because if you want to move money, the same policy of cashless economy says we shouldn't carry notes about. I know that in Lagos you cannot withdraw individual accounts. They have started operating it 150,000 or the highest will be 500,000. So why not let's resort to the cashless issue rather than intending to move monies in those denominations? It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up.
Okay. Well, for the other matter which the House talked about was that of the DG of the Securities and Exchange Commission. We do remember that some time ago the Senate also recommended to the executive arm of government, well, this time was with the leadership of the BPE. Till date, the executive didn't even hint to that, or maybe somebody should correct us if we're wrong in that. And now the House of Reps also say, correct me if I'm wrong, to sack the DG of SEC. How do you see this playing out?
You see, let me tell you, I think we will get to a situation where both chambers might definitely make certain approvers or certain things coming to the National Assembly as a precondition to compliance with our resolutions. We may just have to sit down on the table with the other arm of government and say, okay, these are the number of resolutions from the Senate and the House of Representatives we have. These are the extent of compliance. If we must do this expeditiously, these issues have to be looked into. I think we're getting to that stage. And I definitely don't know that unless we change our attitudes, we might be forced to begin to apply these methods.
Is that again?
It's not out of place.
Is that again on an issue of merit? Because before the federal government reinstated her, they also carried out another audit on SEC, this time around carried out by PwC, and they say that, she was not found culpable in any of those things. Is this just about carry out her resolutions and let an innocent person suffer regardless?
We have mentioned the case in question that she's actually not qualified in the first place. The appointment in the first place was an error. We have not seen anybody who has explained to us to say we are wrong in that conclusion. The House said she is, for all indices and all our findings, she is not qualified in the first place to occupy that office.
But isn't that
they should correct that.
Your sister arm?
No, as far as I'm concerned, the fact that some people came and overlooked certain things does not mean that it is a right thing.
In other words, are you going to get back to the Senate on this particular one? Are you going to be seeking the cooperation of the Senate on this particular matter? After all, they appointed her. She went through the Senate before she was finally appointed DG of SEC.
It's not out of place. We are on the same page with the Senate on these issues. The Senate has not said anything different from what we have said. So, and I tell you that the uniqueness of the 7th Assembly is that the Senate President being the chairman of the National Assembly and the Speaker being the deputy chairman, it's been a partnership that has been working from the day we started. And that is why that if you look at any motion or bill that is on the floor of the Senate, that same will not be repeated on the floor of the House of Representatives and vice versa. So we have that cooperation and we have that understanding, and that's exactly what is making it work out. I know that we are on the same page on these issues. And if you recall, on major issues since we came in, we have spoken on one voice, from one breath.